This is a Miata. This is a Miata. And I am a Miata. Last episode, we got a lot done on the car. Honestly, the video ended up being so long because I thought it was going to be short. I put in a lot of work, but I was like, all right, it's gonna be a 5-minute video because most of the stuff is time-lapse. But it ended up being a 15-minute video. So anyway, last episode, we painted the engine bay, which was awesome, but almost more importantly, and well, more importantly, to get this car running, we swapped the wiring harness from this car to this car. So this wiring harness yesterday at this time was completely in this car. It took a whole heck of a lot of work, but we are now at a spot where today's focus, we're going to try and get the interior done. In addition to painting the engine bay and doing the harness last time, we also finished taking everything out of the interior here. We washed the carpet and we took out the interior of this donor car. What this means is that we need to finish putting the carpet back in and everything else back in. So here's essentially what this is going to look like. We're going to start by tidying this area up just a little bit, and then we are going to put that carpet in. Once the carpet is in, we're going to go ahead and wire up the dash and everything else that we need to do for the harness on the inside of the car. And then we're gonna finish up by putting in the seats and any other accessories that we may need. So it's a lot of putting our head down and grinding, which has been a lot of the last few episodes, which I very much enjoyed. So let's just go ahead and start by getting the carpet in. At this point, I got so carried away with putting everything back in that I just continued working on putting the dash and everything else back in. And it took a while, but we got it all done. It has been 6.5 hours. I am ready to punch something in the face. So here's where we're at right now. I got the dash in, it's bolted in. I've wired everything I could think of. There's still wires not connected, but everything that possibly has a connection, I have connected. So now it's on to the time of putting in the rest of the interior. So what's that gonna look like? Well, it's gonna finish connecting up the dash there. It's gonna finish connecting up the cluster. There's one wire, I don't know where it goes. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're gonna finish putting in the rest of the interior so that way it's all here. So what's that gonna look like? Well, it's gonna be seats, center console, the carpet's on the back. This carpet back here is going to be tan because I didn't get any black inserts with this car, so I'm just going to have something there. And then as much other trim as I can, and then finishing off with the doors, hopefully. So that's at least the plan to finish out tonight. We'll see how far we can get, but despite the hiccups, we're getting things together and we're moving in the right direction. So frustrating to not have this go as smoothly as I was hoping, absolutely, but let's finish on a high note. So let's get the rest of the interior in. I got my butt kicked by the flu. Holy Moses. This is like 4 days from the last time the recording ended. Goodness gracious. I have not been able to move for a minute and I'm still not doing great. But here's where we're at. We got the interior pretty much all in. Now the center console, whatever there, that's a weird hodgepodge of stuff and it needs new wiring anyway because previously it just wasn't done correctly. But everything is back in. We got our seats in, we got our center console in, dash in, steering wheel in. Everything is looking good. Put one door on because I'm not gonna need to get under the dash on this side, but
That's the reason why I didn't do it on the other side. Is there's not really much room to open the door on that side anyway, and there's a high chance I'm going to need to get under that dash to figure out some wiring mistakes that I probably made. But there is still more that I want to do this episode before we finish it out. I want to finish getting the trunk done. Now right now it's pretty much just a big mess, but the things that I want to get done here is I want to, well, first off, clean everything out, but I need to wire up the taillights as well as put them in, put the center trim on, transfer that over from here to here, put the gas cap cover on and wire it up, and essentially put as much trim in here as I possibly can. I have a feeling I'm missing some, but still I just want to try to do as much as I can right now. Goodness gracious, I'm so stuffed up. So we're going to start by clearing everything out and putting the taillights in so that way we are all wired up correctly, and then we'll meet up after that. All right, at this point I've got everything taken off the back of our donor car, but before I put it on there, I want to do a little bit of work on these. Now, if we come over to this car, you'll notice or remember that in the last episode or 2 episodes ago, whatever it was, we painted the door jambs black. Now, the reason that this was because we're going to end up painting the whole outside of the car red, and it would just look weird to have these be like silver or white. Black just really goes well with the red on the outside, especially since we're doing the engine bay black as well. It just makes sense. So I want to do the same on these pieces that we took off. I want to paint the inserts of these black, and then same with the gas cap. I want to paint the back half of this gas cap black because, again, going back over to the donor car, I painted the inside of the gas cap area black because we're just going to paint the car with the gas cap closed. It's a bit of an extra step, but it'd be good to do it now so that way we don't have to worry about taking things off later, or when we spray the car having the most of it be red and then having the black inserts, but then in the trunk just have some weird white inserts. I just don't want to have to deal with that later down the road. So we're going to go ahead and scuff those up, then paint them black. And also, by the way, hat, sweatshirts, check out the website down below, philsupra.com. Let's get to painting. We have our trunk pretty much done. Obviously the trunk lid isn't on yet, but I'm leaving it off just till the last second so that way I can put it on and it's not going to be in the way for any other things we may have to do in the back. But everything else is in and looking good. It looks nice to have that carpet in. Our gas latch is hooked up, our trunk latch is hooked up. Our taillights are on. I actually ended up respraying the taillights clear. So put a nice coat over here so it has a good gloss reflection. Even gave us a good refresh here on the plastic trim that was like almost gray. On this side, it's cleared, but it turns out the actual plastic itself is a bit hazed over. So we're gonna have to switch that out eventually, but it still looks really good and it's not cracked, which is the big deal. So anyway, all that being said, the trunk is now pretty much essentially done. But that's not it for this video because I want to do one more thing, and that is to start wiring up the engine bay. I want to have everything in here wired or in place so that way at next episode we can just start by putting that engine in here. We're getting really close to being able to actually have the engine in and almost getting ready to try and start it up. So I want to be able to have myself set up as best as possible so that way next episode when I am putting the engine in, it's as smooth sailing as it possibly can be, and I'm not trying to multitask to 7 different things. So this is going to look about as simple as it sounds. It's just putting wires where they need to go. So taking some of these mounts and mounting them in the right spots, plugging in wires that we have available to plug in, like the relays, plugging into the brake master cylinder, things like that, where it's like the wiring can get started. So a lot of things are all over the place and just need to be tucked away. It's as simple as that. Let's go ahead and set up the camera.